Recently, DeepSeek, a tech company from China, has caused quite a stir in the American AI industry, as well as in the tech investment and finance. On January 30th, Voice of America stated in a report titled, Financial Times, OpenAI says it has evidence of infringement by DeepSeek, that OpenAI, the US AI company, has found evidence showing that DeepSeek used an API to distill OpenAI's huge data and then turn this distilled data into its own database. This allowed DeepSeek to compete commercially with OpenAI. The report suggests that DeepSeek, a Chinese startup, might be using OpenAI's proprietary models to train its own open-source chatbot, providing new support for those who suspect the company may be infringing on intellectual property. President Trump's AI advisor, Sachs, has pointed out that there is strong evidence showing DeepSeek has plagiarized ChatGPT. Additionally, industry experts have noted that DeepSeek has used a large number of NVIDIA H100 high-end chips, which violates US export control regulations on advanced chips being sold to China. So what exactly is distillation technology? In simple terms, distillation is a process where developers use a larger, more powerful model to train smaller models. This helps the smaller model perform better while reducing costs. A popular image circulating online clearly illustrates this issue. It shows a little cat named OpenAI fishing by the river. The cat catches fish and places them in a bucket labeled ChatGPT. Then a bigger cat named DeepSeek comes along, dips its fishing rod into the bucket, and starts catching the fish. The result is clear. The big cat saves time, effort, and costs while taking all the hard work the little cat did. Chinese economist and independent columnist Chai Shen-Quen, who lives in the US, has criticized DeepSeek's actions as theft. In a post on X, he wrote, "This disgraceful behavior severely damages the reputation of Chinese tech companies and researchers, turning DeepSeek into a public enemy. No doubt this will only escalate the trade and tech conflict between China and the US. Theft is always exposed in the end." Those who've been praising DeepSeek's founder Liang Wenfeng and tech expert Liufu Li as geniuses should really give themselves a slap. Building skyscrapers on sand is a dangerous game. Thinking they could outpace the US AI industry by stealing is simply laughable. What's even more absurd is that the whole country is supporting them. Premier Li Qiang even personally met with Liang Wenfeng. If Xi Jinping finds out the truth, who knows what might happen next? US independent commentator Tongjing Yuan analyzed that DeepSeek's founder Liang Wenfeng has strong connections with the Chinese Communist Party. In other words, the real force behind this entire incident is the CCP. What we're seeing with DeepSeek right now isn't just about intellectual property theft, it's also about how they're able to innovate using the stolen technology. In simple terms, this isn't just any thief, this is a very clever, creative, and resourceful one. From the victim's point of view, this thief is definitely a big threat, one of the worst kind. And the US sees it the same way. They recognize DeepSeek as a highly skilled and talented thief. So, when the US pushes back against DeepSeek, it's not because they're jealous of its abilities, but because DeepSeek has huge potential. However, it's almost entirely controlled by the Chinese Communist Party, much like a gang or a group of bandits. The potential consequences of this could be extremely concerning. From the US perspective, DeepSeek's skills are a significant threat. But the issue goes beyond just DeepSeek. It's a problem with all Chinese tech companies. Huawei set the stage, and now DeepSeek is following in its footsteps. You could even say DeepSeek is the Huawei of the AI world. It's well known that China has no shortage of talented people, even geniuses. Unfortunately, much of China's intellectual talent is often manipulated and turned into tools that serve the Communist Party's goals. This means the US feels it has no choice but to protect itself by taking down these powerful tools. The real target in the US view is the Communist Party itself. American expert and veteran journalist Fong Wei also pointed out that the DeepSeek incident isn't surprising, given that the CCP has been involved in intellectual property theft many times before. For the CCP, stealing intellectual property has become a regular part of doing business. China's company SMIC used shady tactics to poach talent from Taiwan's TSMC, stealing over 100 employees. Some of these employees were even asked to hand over TSMC's trade secrets. and some actually did. That's how SMIC got started. Of course, TSMC sued them for this theft back in 2003. Then there's Taiwan's UMC and China's JHICC, which were sued in California in 2017 for stealing US DRAM trade secrets, specifically from Micron Technology. In the 1990s, when China wanted to build high-speed rail, they didn't just need tracks and trains, they needed a whole control system. This had to come together as a complete package. In 1994, China's attempt to develop its own high-speed rail ended in total failure. At the time, China had no market share in global railways or trains. The four major companies dominating the market were France's Alstom, Canada's Bombardier, Germany's Siemens, and Japan's Kawasaki Heavy Industries. These companies had a monopoly on the world's high-speed rail industry. Fast forward to today, and these companies have nearly disappeared, while China's CRRC now controls over 70% of the world's high-speed rail market. How did they do it? By stealing other companies' intellectual property on a massive scale. There are countless examples like this. In fact, during Obama's presidency, China copied so many US technological advances, especially in the high-tech industry, that in just 1 year they effectively stole an entire state's GDP worth of intellectual property. That's how extreme the copying became. Now let's look at a real case of US chip technology theft, specifically from Motorola. Back in 2003 at Shanghai Jiaotong University, there was a professor named Chen Jin. He claimed to have independently developed a high-end microchip that could rival American chips. He even gave it a flashy name, Hanxin 1. Here's how it all started. Chen Jin submitted his resume to Shanghai Jiaotong University, claiming that he graduated from Tongji University, went to the US for further studies, earned a PhD in computer science, and worked as a senior engineer at IBM and Motorola, supposedly leading chip development projects. When Chen heard that China was actively recruiting top talent, he decided to return home. His resume was almost flawless. He was an overseas graduate, an experienced engineer, and most importantly, a patriot. With such impressive credentials, Shanghai Jiaotong University quickly appointed him as the chief designer of its chip project, giving him full control over the development. In other words, he had a lot of power in his hands. Not long after Chen joined, the Chinese government introduced a series of subsidies for the chip industry. As a top-tier talent, he received generous bonuses. Shanghai Jiaotong University also officially launched the Hanxin project, providing Chen with a full team, a large budget, and state-of-the-art equipment. Chen didn't disappoint. He presented the university with a 4-step plan. First 2 years, keep a low profile and work hard. 3rd year, surprise everyone. 4th year, deliver a working chip. However, no one expected that Chen Jin would directly surprise everyone in his first year. He boldly claimed to have successfully developed the Hanxin No. 1 DSP chip. DSP, or digital signal processing, and CPU are the two main core technologies in chip manufacturing, and DSP chips are mainly used in Bluetooth and wireless communications. Only a few countries in the world have mastered this technology. To put it into perspective, Motorola, the company that developed DSP chips, had over 100 researchers working on it. It took them multiple attempts and 3 years to finally succeed. Back in 2000, Motorola was one of the most famous American companies and a giant in the global communications industry. The announcement of the Hanxin No. 1 caused a huge stir. Chen Jin even claimed that the chip was built with 0.18 micron technology, packed with 2.5 million components and 32 processing cores, and could perform 200 million calculations per second. At the time, this chip was considered to be on the cutting edge internationally. The whole country was buzzing with excitement over such advanced technology. So, on March 26, 2003, the Shanghai Municipal Government's Information Office held a press conference about the Hanxin No. 1, where they officially announced that the chip was entirely homegrown and reached an internationally advanced level. The conference even featured top experts from the Chinese Academy of Sciences who were very respected in the field. After that, no one questioned Chen Jin's ideas or his team's technology. The press conference led to a huge number of chip orders, and Chen Jin became a well-known success story, widely promoted as an inspiring example. as a scientist who had studied in the US turned down great offers from big foreign companies and decided to return to China to pursue research, a truly motivational story. As a result, he earned a lot of recognition, like being named a leading figure in Shanghai's tech scene and receiving awards like the Changjiang Scholar title from Shanghai Jiaotong University. At the same time, after becoming famous, Chen Jin didn't forget to make money from his success. He founded companies like Shanghai Jiaotong University Hanxin Technology Company Limited and the Shanghai Silicon Knowledge Property Education Center, gaining both fame and fortune. The following year, Chen Jin released Hanxin No. 2 and Hanxin No. 3. Even though the Hanxin series had reached its third generation, the first version still hadn't been mass-produced. Then, in 2006, someone exposed Chen Jin. The whistleblower posted on its Tsinghua University forum, openly claiming that the Hanxin chips were fake. They said that Chen Jin had hired workers to scrape off the Motorola logos from chips and replace them with his own, essentially swapping out the chips and passing them off as his own. As soon as the post went viral, it caused a massive public outcry. Chen Jin quickly responded, saying that he would take strong action to clear things up. But surprisingly, not long after, his phone became unreachable and his companies were suddenly in the process of being shut down. Soon, the police got involved in the investigation and traced everything back to a company that had done renovation work for Shanghai Jiaotong University. This company's website boasted that they were responsible for the design work for Hanxin No. 1, which, as it turned out, was actually just scraping off logos. They had purchased Motorola chips, removed the logos, and replaced them with Hanxin No. 1 logos, essentially turning foreign-made chips into Chinese-made ones and selling them as if they were homegrown. Over the years that the Hanxin chips were being promoted, Chen Jin submitted 40 project applications to various Chinese government departments and scammed a total of 100 million RMB in funding, all of which he pocketed. By January 28, 2007, the Ministry of Science and Technology and the Ministry of Education in China issued a joint statement declaring that the Hanxin No. 1 was a complete fake and announced an investigation into Chen Jin. However, Chen Jin quickly fled the country. After leaving China, he went to the US and started his own chip company. And just like that, the whole scam finally came to an end. It seems that Hanxin No. 1 is just one of the many absurd dramas that keep emerging in the CCP's China. And of course, the people who quickly forget are already eagerly awaiting the next big spectacle. That's all for today. If you enjoy our content, please remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment, or share it with your friends. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.